Hey there, tonight we're talking about how a humble village blacksmith in the 1800s transformed his simple craft into steady prosperity that provided abundantly for his beloved family. Before you drift off, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. But only if this kind of transformative deep sleep hypnosis speaks to you. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and how many days in a row you've been on this manifestation journey. I love seeing how committed this community is becoming. Now dim the lights, get comfortable, and let your mind absorb abundance. As you settle into this peaceful evening, allowing your body to find its most comfortable position while your breathing naturally begins to slow and deepen, you find yourself gently drifting back through time, floating effortlessly on currents of warm summer air that carry the mingled scents of wildflowers blooming in meadows, wood smoke rising from cottage chimneys, and the distinctive metallic tang of iron being shaped by skilled hands. And as these sensory impressions wash over you like gentle waves, you're naturally drawn into a story that unfolds in the golden light of a late summer evening in 1847, in a small village called Millbrook that nestles between rolling green hills where sheep graze peacefully and ancient oak trees cast long shadows across cobblestone streets, worn smooth by generations of cartwheels and footsteps. A place where time moves at the rhythm of seasons and harvests, where prosperity grows slowly and surely, like grain ripening under patient sun, where the sound of a hammer striking steel creates a meditation that opens your mind to receive the timeless wisdom of abundance that flows through every carefully crafted moment of this transformative tale. In this tranquil state of receptive awareness, as your consciousness naturally begins to expand and your subconscious mind opens like a flower to receive new patterns of thinking about wealth, success, and your own unlimited potential for creating prosperity, you're beginning to notice how easily your breathing synchronizes with the gentle rhythm of village life, how effortlessly your heartbeat slows to match the steady pace of honest work rewarded with honest abundance, how naturally your mind releases the tensions and worries of modern life as you slip into the simpler but no less profound world of 1847. Where prosperity meant having enough to care for those you love, enough to sleep peacefully at night, knowing your family was safe and well fed, enough to wake each morning with purpose flowing through your veins like warm honey, and enough to contribute something valuable to your community while building security that would last for generations. Because even in those distant times, the principles of abundance were the same as they are today. Excellence in your chosen craft, service to others with genuine care, patience with the gradual accumulation of skills and reputation, and unwavering faith in your capacity to create wealth through dedicated effort, applied consistently over time with love, integrity, and commitment to providing value that others eagerly seek and willingly pay for. The village blacksmith story that you're about to experience is really your story, told through the lens of simpler times when the connection between effort and reward was more direct, when prosperity grew from tangible skills applied to real needs, when abundance meant not just money in hand, but the deep satisfaction that comes from work that matters, from contributing something lasting and valuable to the world around you. And as you allow yourself to sink deeper into this peaceful, receptive state, where your subconscious mind eagerly welcomes new patterns of thinking about money, success, and your own inherent worthiness to receive abundance, you're naturally beginning to understand that the same principles that guided our ancestors toward prosperity still work today, still create reliable pathways from struggle to abundance, still transform ordinary skills into extraordinary opportunities for those wise enough to embrace them with patience, dedication, and unwavering commitment to serving others while building the kind of wealth that brings security, satisfaction, and the power to bless others with the overflow of your success. Because prosperity is not about accumulating vast fortunes, but about creating steady, reliable abundance that grows naturally from the fertile soil of skills developed, relationships nurtured, and value consistently provided to those who need what you have to offer. As you breathe more slowly and deeply now, feeling your body melting into complete relaxation, while your mind remains alert and receptive to the abundance programming that flows through every word of this story, you might begin to notice how the boundaries between Henrik's experience and your own experience start to blur and dissolve. How his journey toward prosperity becomes a template for your own transformation. How his gradual accumulation of wealth and reputation mirrors the process already beginning in your own life as you listen to these words, absorb these concepts, and allow these timeless principles to take root in the deepest levels of your consciousness, where they'll grow and flourish into new beliefs, new habits, new opportunities, and new levels of abundance that will surprise and delight you with their speed, their reliability, and their capacity to transform not just your financial situation, but your entire relationship with money, success, and your own unlimited potential for creating prosperity in whatever form serves your highest good and the highest good of all those whose lives you touch through your work, your service, and your generous sharing of the abundance that is already beginning to flow toward you with increasing speed and certainty. In the year 1847, as the summer sun cast its golden embrace across the cobblestone streets of Millbrook Village, painting everything it touched with warm honey light that seemed to promise abundance and prosperity to those wise enough to recognize opportunity when it appeared, a man named Henrik stood before his modest forge on this particular evening, watching the coals glow like captured stars in the gathering dusk, while the rhythmic sound of his breathing naturally synchronizes with your own breathing, creating a peaceful meditation that allows your subconscious mind to absorb the wealth-building wisdom that flows through every moment of Henrik's remarkable transformation from simple craftsman to prosperous provider. And as you imagine yourself standing beside Henrik in this peaceful scene, you can feel how naturally your shoulders begin to drop away from your ears, how easily your jaw unclenches and your facial muscles soften, how effortlessly your breathing becomes deeper and more regular as you watch Henrik bank the fires of his forge with movements that speak of years of practice, decades of dedication to his craft, and a growing understanding that prosperity flows not from grand gestures or lucky breaks, but from the patient accumulation of skills, relationships, and reputation built one hammer strike at a time, one satisfied customer at a time, one small improvement at a time. Because Henrik is discovering what you too are beginning to remember as these words settle into the most receptive levels of your consciousness. That abundance is not something you chase, but something you attract through the magnetic power of excellence, service, and unwavering commitment to providing value that others genuinely need and eagerly seek. Henrik's journey toward prosperity begins, as all such journeys must begin, with a clear understanding of why abundance matters. And as you watch him through the eyes of your imagination, on this warm summer evening, when the air shimmers with possibilities and promises, you can see that everything Henrik does is motivated by love for his family. His wife Margaret, whose gentle strength provides the emotional foundation that allows Henrik to take the risks necessary for growth. Their 3 young children, Anna, Thomas, and baby Sarah, who represent every dream Henrik has ever dared to dream about providing security, opportunity, and comfort for those he loves most. And as you feel the warmth of this family motivation settling over you, like a comfortable blanket woven from love and purpose, you're naturally beginning to understand that true prosperity always flows from a clear sense of why you're building wealth, what you hope to accomplish with abundance, how your financial success will serve not just your own needs, but the needs of those whose well-being depends on your capacity to create reliable income, steady security, and the kind of lasting wealth that provides options, opportunities, and the power to bless others with generous overflow from your own cup that runs over with blessings beyond what you ever imagined possible when you first began to align your efforts with the timeless principles that Henrik is about to discover through his dedication to serving others with the highest quality craftsmanship his skilled hands can create. The summer of 1847 has been particularly challenging for the residents of Millbrook Village, with crops struggling in the unusual heat that has lasted longer than anyone can remember. Many families tightening their belts and carefully counting every coin as they navigate these uncertain times. Merchants worried about trade routes and supply chains disrupted by weather and economic turbulence. But Henrik notices something remarkable and encouraging happening in his modest workshop. Rather than bringing him less work as he initially feared when the economic challenges began, farmers and merchants and fellow craftsmen are actually bringing him more commissions than ever before, not fewer, because they understand something that Henrik is just beginning to recognize himself, that during difficult times, having well-made tools becomes even more important than during times of plenty, that when resources are scarce, investing in quality craftsmanship that will last for generations makes more sense than purchasing cheap alternatives that will break and need replacement within months, that Henrik's reputation for creating ironwork that combines functionality with beauty, durability with artistry, has positioned him as exactly the kind of craftsman that wise people seek out when they need work they can depend on, tools they can trust, and lasting value for their hard-earned money. As Henrik carefully examines a plowshare brought to him by Thomas Ashford, a farmer whose family has worked the same land for 4 generations and who understands better than most the value of tools that perform reliably season after season, Henrik runs his calloused fingers along the worn metal with the kind of focused attention that reveals years of experience in reading the story that metal tells about how it's been used, how it's been cared for, what stresses it has endured, and what kind of repair will restore it to better than new condition. And as you watch Henrik's hands move with confident precision, guided by knowledge accumulated through countless similar repairs, but inspired by a growing vision of what his work can become when approached with genuine love and meticulous attention to detail, you might notice how your own hands naturally relax and open as if preparing to receive abundance, how your own fingers naturally curl into a receptive position that mirrors Henrik's stance of readiness to work, to serve, to create value that others will eagerly reward with fair compensation and enthusiastic recommendations to friends and neighbors who also need the kind of excellent craftsmanship that Henrik provides. The repair work that Henrik performs on Thomas Ashford's plowshare represents something much more significant than a simple business transaction, because as Henrik heats the metal to precisely the right temperature, his eyes reading the color changes that indicate when iron reaches that perfect state between too soft and too hard, too flexible and too brittle, he's not just fixing a farming tool. He's demonstrating the abundance mindset that sees every task, no matter how humble or ordinary it might appear, as an opportunity to exceed expectations, to provide more value than the customer anticipated, to build reputation through consistent excellence that creates the kind of word-of-mouth marketing that money cannot buy. And as you absorb Henrik's approach to his work, feeling your own consciousness naturally aligning with his commitment to quality and service, you're beginning to understand that prosperity doesn't come from cutting corners or doing the minimum required to get by, but from consistently going beyond what's expected, from taking pride in every detail of your work, from understanding that excellence in small things leads inevitably to opportunities for excellence in larger things. Because the universe has a way of testing our commitment to quality through humble tasks before entrusting us with the grander commissions that bring recognition, reputation, and the kind of financial rewards that transform struggling craftsmen into prosperous artisans whose skills are sought throughout the region. When Henrik finishes the repair and returns the plowshare to Thomas Ashford, the farmer examines the work with the critical eye of someone whose livelihood depends on his tools, running his own weathered hands along the repaired surfaces, testing the balance and weight, checking the attachment points where the plow will connect to his team of oxen, and what he discovers brings a smile of genuine satisfaction to his face, because Henrik hasn't simply repaired the damage. He's actually improved the original design, adding subtle reinforcements that will prevent similar problems in the future, adjusting the angles to improve efficiency in the field, taking the time to polish surfaces that will reduce friction and make the farmer's work easier. And as Thomas Ashford reaches into his leather pouch to pay for the work, he voluntarily adds extra coins to Henrik's fee, explaining that work of this quality deserves compensation beyond the originally agreed price. And in this moment, Henrik experiences a profound shift in his understanding of his own value, his own worth, his own capacity to command premium prices for premium quality, because someone who understands excellence has just validated Henrik's approach to his craft in the most meaningful way possible, by willingly paying more than required because the value received exceeded expectations. This single transaction with Thomas Ashford becomes a turning point in Henrik's prosperity journey, not because of the extra coins involved, though those are certainly welcome in a household where every copper piece matters, but because of the shift in mindset that occurs when Henrik realizes that his work has value far beyond what he previously imagined, that his skills deserve recognition and proper compensation, that his commitment to excellence creates a natural magnetism that attracts customers willing to pay premium prices for premium quality. And as Henrik carefully places the coins in his workshop strongbox, feeling their weight both physically and symbolically, he begins to understand that prosperity isn't something that happens to other people in other places. It's something that flows naturally toward those who consistently provide value, who serve others with genuine care, who approach their work with love and dedication, and unwavering commitment to doing their best regardless of how much or how little they're being paid. Because the universe has a way of rewarding excellence, and those rewards always exceed what we think we deserve when we're focused on serving others rather than serving ourselves. As evening begins to settle over Millbrook Village, like a soft blanket woven from golden light and gentle shadows, Henrik takes a moment to step outside his workshop and breathe deeply of the summer air that carries the mingled scents of cooking fires, blooming flowers, and the distant sweetness of hay drying in fields beyond the village boundaries. And in this peaceful moment of transition between the active work of day and the restorative rest of night, Henrik feels something shifting inside him, something that starts as a barely perceptible change in his posture, his breathing, his sense of possibility, but which grows with each heartbeat into a quietly confident knowing that his future holds opportunities he's never imagined, prosperity he's never dared to dream of, security and abundance that will provide not just for his immediate needs, but for the long-term well-being of his family, and the generous overflow that will allow him to bless others with the fruits of his labor. Because Henrik is beginning to understand what you too are discovering as these words take root in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. That abundance is not a scarce resource to be competed for, but an unlimited force to be aligned with, not a privilege reserved for the fortunate few, but a birthright available to all who develop valuable skills, serve others with genuine care, and maintain unwavering faith in their capacity to create prosperity through dedicated effort, applied consistently over time with love, integrity, and commitment to excellence that naturally attracts the opportunities, resources, and compensation that prosperity requires. The evening air fills with the sound of children playing their last games before bedtime, their laughter mixing with the gentle lowing of cattle being brought in from pasture, the distant sound of a fiddle being tuned for evening entertainment at the village inn, and the soft murmur of neighbors greeting each other along the lanes that connect home to workshop to market square, in the intricate web of relationships that makes village life both challenging and rewarding. And as Henrik listens to these familiar sounds that have marked the rhythm of his days for years, he realizes that his growing prosperity isn't separate from this community, but deeply connected to it, rooted in it, dependent on it. Because every customer brings work to his forge, every neighbor who recommends his services to others, every friend who celebrates his successes and supports him through challenges, contributes to the network of relationships that makes individual prosperity possible, sustainable, and meaningful. And this understanding fills Henrik with a deep sense of gratitude that extends far beyond appreciation for financial success to encompass genuine thankfulness for the opportunity to serve others while building abundance, to contribute something valuable to his community while providing security for his family, to pursue excellence in his chosen craft while creating the kind of lasting wealth that brings peace of mind, generous spirit, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that your skills, when applied with love and dedication, will always provide everything you need and more than you ever imagined possible. 3 weeks later, on another warm summer evening when the air hangs thick with the promise of rain and the sweet scent of honeysuckle drifts through open windows throughout Millbrook Village like nature's own abundance programming, filling hearts with hope and minds with dreams of prosperity that seems to shimmer in the very atmosphere, Henrik stands in his forge working later than usual, the rhythmic ring of his hammer against hot iron, creating a meditation that naturally synchronizes with your breathing, your heartbeat, your brain waves, allowing your consciousness to slip deeper into the peaceful receptive state where abundance programming takes root in the most fertile levels of your subconscious mind. And as you watch Henrik shape each curve and angle of the ornate iron gates he's creating for Mayor Aldrich, you're naturally beginning to absorb the wealth-building mindset that flows through every careful strike of Henrik's hammer, because he has discovered what you too are remembering with each word that settles into your awareness, that when you approach your work with genuine love, meticulous attention to detail, and unwavering commitment to exceeding expectations, something magical happens in the space between effort and outcome, something that transforms simple labor into a conduit for prosperity that grows stronger and more reliable with each passing day, each satisfied customer, each small improvement in skill and reputation that compounds over time into the kind of success that provides abundantly for all your needs while creating opportunities to serve others and bless them with the overflow of your abundance. The commission for Mayor Aldrich's Iron Gates represents a quantum leap in Henrik's prosperity journey, not just because of the substantial payment involved, though that money will indeed transform his family's financial situation in ways both immediate and long-lasting, but because of what this commission represents in terms of recognition, reputation, and the kind of social validation that opens doors to opportunities Henrik never knew existed. Because when a man of wealth and sophistication, a person whose judgment is respected throughout the region, chooses to trust Henrik with creating something both functional and beautiful for his estate. It sends a clear message that resonates through every level of village society and beyond. Henrik's work has transcended the realm of simple utility to enter the realm of artistry. His skills have evolved beyond basic craftsmanship to encompass genuine aesthetic vision, and his reputation has grown beyond local recognition to attract attention from the influential families whose approval can transform a village blacksmith into a sought-after artisan whose services command premium prices and whose waiting list extends months into the future. Because excellence, once recognized by those who understand quality, creates a magnetic attraction that draws opportunities, resources, and abundance from sources you never expected and in ways you never imagined possible. Henrik's hands move with confident precision as he shapes the hot iron, guided by years of experience, but inspired by a vision that extends far beyond mere functionality to encompass beauty, artistry, and the kind of aesthetic excellence that transforms useful objects into treasured possessions that will be admired for generations. And as sparks fly in golden arcs through the evening air, like tiny shooting stars, carrying wishes for prosperity toward infinite possibilities, you might notice how your own breathing naturally settles into the rhythm of Henrik's work, how your heartbeat slows to match the steady pace of creation, how your mind opens more completely to receive the abundance programming that flows through every moment of Henrik's transformation, from struggling craftsman to respected artisan whose reputation for excellence is beginning to spread beyond the borders of Millbrook Village, carried by satisfied customers who understand that Henrik's ironwork isn't just functional. It's beautiful, it's durable, it's created with a level of care and attention that makes every piece a work of art worthy of the premium prices it commands and the enthusiastic recommendations that bring new customers to his door with increasing frequency and ever more prestigious commissions. Each curve that Henrik shapes in the hot iron follows not just his original design, but also the improvements and refinements that occur to him as the work progresses. Because true artistry involves not just executing a predetermined plan, but remaining open to inspiration, to possibilities that emerge only in the process of creation, to the kind of intuitive knowing that guides skilled hands toward excellence that exceeds even the creator's initial vision. And as you watch Henrik make these spontaneous improvements, adding decorative elements that weren't in the original design, refining proportions to achieve even greater visual harmony, taking extra time to perfect details that others might consider unnecessary, but which Henrik understands are essential to creating work that truly stands apart from ordinary craftsmanship. You're naturally beginning to understand that prosperity flows most abundantly toward those who consistently go beyond what's required, who exceed expectations not because they have to, but because excellence has become so deeply ingrained in their character that they cannot imagine doing less than their best, regardless of whether anyone else will notice or appreciate the extra effort involved. The transformation in Henrik's understanding of his own value becomes evident not just in the quality of his work, but in his posture, his confidence, the way he speaks about his craft when neighbors stop by to watch him work. Because the young man who once worried constantly about having enough customers to pay his bills has been replaced by a craftsman who knows that his skills are valuable, his services are in demand, and his reputation for excellence creates a natural magnetism that attracts abundance from sources both expected and unexpected. And this shift in self-perception creates a profound change in how Henrik approaches every aspect of his work, from the care he takes in selecting materials to the patience he shows in perfecting techniques, from the attention he pays to customer satisfaction to the vision he holds for his future as an artisan whose work will be sought after throughout the region and beyond. because Henrik has learned what you too are discovering as these concepts take root in your consciousness. That prosperity is not just about accumulating money, but about recognizing your inherent value, claiming your rightful place in the flow of abundance, and allowing your unique gifts to shine with the brightness they've always possessed, but which perhaps you've kept hidden under layers of doubt, fear, and limiting beliefs about what you deserve and what you're capable of achieving. Margaret notices the change in her husband immediately, not just in the extra coins that have begun appearing more frequently in their household jar, providing relief from the constant worry about making ends meet that has shadowed their marriage since its early days, but in the way Henrik carries himself as he walks through the village, the confidence that lights his eyes when he speaks about his work, the quiet pride that suffuses their evening conversations as he describes the intricate details he's incorporating into Mayor Aldrich's gates, the planning and dreaming that now includes possibilities they never dared discuss before, perhaps expanding the workshop, taking on an apprentice, even purchasing the small plot of land adjacent to their current property where Henrik could build a larger forge capable of handling the bigger commissions that seem increasingly likely as his reputation continues to grow. And as you imagine Margaret's quiet satisfaction at seeing her husband step into his full potential, you might feel your own sense of worthiness expanding, your own confidence in your ability to create abundance growing stronger, because you're beginning to understand that prosperity isn't just about accumulating money. It's about recognizing your inherent value, claiming your rightful place in the flow of abundance, and allowing your unique gifts to shine with the brightness they've always possessed. Young Anna has begun spending her evenings in the forge, perched safely on a high wooden stool that Henrik crafted especially for her, where she can watch her father work while remaining well away from the dangerous heat and flying sparks. And Henrik discovers that having an audience for his craftsmanship adds another dimension to his satisfaction, because as he explains to his daughter why he chooses certain techniques over others, why he pays attention to specific details that might seem insignificant to casual observers, why he takes the time to perfect each element, even when no one else might notice the difference between good work and exceptional work, he's actually programming his own subconscious mind with messages of excellence, value, and the natural connection between quality work and abundant rewards. And as you listen to Henrik teaching his daughter about the principles of fine craftsmanship, you're naturally absorbing these same prosperity principles, allowing them to take root in your own consciousness, where they'll grow into new patterns of thinking about your work, your value, and your unlimited capacity for creating wealth through excellence and service that consistently exceeds expectations. The iron gates begin to take shape under Henrik's patient hands, each scroll and curve flowing into the next with organic grace that speaks of artistic vision guided by technical mastery. And as the work progresses week by week, word spreads through the village and beyond about the extraordinary beauty of what Henrik is creating, drawing visitors to his forge who stand in amazed silence, watching him transform raw iron into something that belongs more in a palace than a village workshop. And with each visitor comes validation, encouragement, and often new commissions, because people recognize excellence when they see it. They understand the difference between ordinary craftsmanship and genuine artistry, and they're willing to pay well for work that exceeds their expectations, that brings beauty into their lives, that represents the best of what human hands and hearts can create when guided by skill, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to serving others with the finest quality possible. And this growing stream of recognition and new business creates a positive feedback loop that reinforces Henrik's confidence while providing the financial resources necessary to invest in better tools, higher quality materials, and the kind of workshop improvements that enable even higher levels of excellence and productivity. As Henrik works by lamplight on this particular evening, with thunder rumbling gently in the distance like nature's own percussion section, accompanying the rhythm of his hammer, and the first drops of summer rain beginning to tap against his workshop windows in a pattern that seems to echo the abundance affirmations flowing through his consciousness. He pauses for a moment to run his fingers along the smooth curves of his nearly completed masterpiece, feeling the perfect balance between strength and elegance that his design has achieved, admiring the way the decorative elements enhance rather than compromise the gate's functionality, appreciating the harmony between artistic vision and practical engineering that his growing skills have made possible. And in this moment of quiet appreciation for his own artistry and craftsmanship, something shifts permanently in Henrik's relationship with money and abundance, because he finally understands with bone-deep certainty that prosperity isn't something he has to chase or struggle for. It's something that flows naturally toward those who dedicate themselves to excellence, who serve others with genuine care, and who recognize that their work has value far beyond what they previously imagined. And as this realization settles into Henrik's consciousness, like warm light filling every cell of his being, you're experiencing your own shift into abundance consciousness, your own recognition that prosperity is your natural birthright, flowing toward you now with increasing speed and certainty as you align yourself with the same timeless principles that are transforming Henrik's life from struggle to abundance, from doubt to confidence, from scarcity thinking to the unshakable knowing that your skills, when developed with patience and applied with love, will always provide everything you need and more than you ever imagined possible. The summer rain that begins falling as Henrik banks his forge for the evening carries with it the promise of abundant harvests to come, washing the village clean and filling the air with the fresh scent of earth and growing things. And as Henrik walks home through the gentle downpour, feeling the cool drops on his face like nature's blessing on his growing prosperity, he carries with him not just the satisfaction of another productive day, but a growing vision of what his future might hold. Commissioned work from wealthy families throughout the region, a reputation that attracts the finest opportunities, financial security that allows him to provide for his family's needs while pursuing artistic projects that feed his soul, and perhaps most importantly, the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing that his prosperity is built on a foundation of genuine value provided to others, service that improves their lives, craftsmanship that will endure for generations, creating a legacy of excellence that extends far beyond mere financial success to encompass the kind of lasting impact that comes from dedicating your life to creating beauty, serving others, and pursuing the highest expression of your natural talents and developed skills. 6 months have passed since Henrik completed Mayor Aldrich's magnificent iron gates, and now, on a warm summer evening in 1848, when the village celebrates its annual harvest festival, with paper lanterns strung between the ancient oak trees that line the main street, their gentle light dancing in the evening breeze like captured fireflies, and the sound of fiddle music drifting through the golden air, while children dance and laugh and couples stroll hand in hand through the peaceful streets. Henrik finds himself in a position he never imagined possible just 1 year ago. He has more work than he can handle, a reputation that extends far beyond Millbrook Village into the surrounding counties and even the larger towns where wealthy merchants and prosperous farmers speak his name with respect and appreciation, and a steady stream of prosperity flowing into his family's life like a spring that never runs dry, providing not just for their immediate needs, but for dreams and plans and possibilities that once seemed as distant as the stars now beginning to twinkle in the darkening sky above the festival celebration. And as you imagine Henrik's quiet satisfaction as he watches his children dance with the other village youngsters, their faces glowing with health and happiness, their clothes well made and clean, their future bright with possibilities he's working every day to create, you're naturally absorbing the deep peace that comes from knowing that abundance is not only possible, but inevitable, when you align your efforts with principles that have served humanity for generations. Henrik's workshop has expanded to include not just additional space, but also his first apprentice, an eager young man named Johan, whose family couldn't afford to pay for his training, but whom Henrik has taken under his wing anyway, because prosperity shared becomes prosperity multiplied, and Henrik understands what you too are beginning to recognize, that when you invest in others, when you share your knowledge and skills and opportunities with those who are ready to receive them, you're not diminishing your own wealth, but expanding it, creating a network of skilled craftsmen who will eventually become colleagues, collaborators, and contributors to a reputation for excellence that extends far beyond what any individual could achieve working alone. And as Henrik teaches Johan the secrets of fine ironwork, demonstrating techniques passed down through generations, while encouraging innovation and personal expression that will make the young man's work distinctly his own, he's also teaching himself about the abundance mindset that sees opportunity everywhere, that recognizes talent regardless of its humble origins, that understands that investing in others always returns greater rewards than could ever be calculated in simple monetary terms, because true prosperity includes this element of legacy building, this understanding that the wealth you create gains meaning and permanence only when it serves not just your own needs, but the needs of future generations who will carry your teachings forward into an abundant future. The transformation in Henrik's prosperity journey accelerated dramatically 3 months ago, when a traveling merchant named Wilhelm stopped in Millbrook Village during his regular circuit through the rural areas, seeking quality goods and fine craftsmanship to supply the wealthy families in distant cities whose tastes run toward luxury items that combine functionality with artistic beauty. And when Wilhelm discovered Henrik's ironwork displayed proudly throughout the town, the mayor's magnificent gates that had become a local landmark, decorative railings for the church that transformed the simple building into something approaching architectural elegance, elegant hinges and latches on the finest homes that demonstrated how even the most utilitarian objects could be elevated to the level of art through skilled craftsmanship and artistic vision. This experienced merchant immediately recognized that Henrik's work surpassed anything he'd encountered in the larger cities, combining functional excellence with artistic beauty in ways that would command premium prices from clients who valued quality above all else and who possessed the means to pay well for exceptional craftsmanship. And as Wilhelm and Henrik shook hands on an agreement that would provide Henrik with steady commissions from wealthy families across 3 counties, you're naturally opening to your own recognition that opportunities for abundance exist everywhere, waiting patiently for those who have prepared themselves through dedication, skill, and unwavering commitment to excellence that eventually attracts the attention of those who can provide the connections, resources, and markets necessary to transform local reputation into regional recognition, and regional recognition into lasting prosperity. Margaret has transformed their modest home into something that reflects their growing prosperity without crossing the line into ostentation or display that might create resentment among neighbors whose fortunes haven't improved as dramatically, but rather through the quiet elegance that comes from being able to afford quality materials, well-made furniture, and the small luxuries that make daily life more beautiful and comfortable. fresh flowers on the kitchen table throughout the growing season, curtains of fine fabric that filter the sunlight into patterns of warmth and welcome, a few carefully chosen books that provide education and entertainment during long winter evenings, cooking pots of heavy iron that will last for generations, linens of quality cotton that speak of comfort and care, and perhaps most significantly, the absence of the constant worry about money that once shadowed every conversation and decision, replaced now by the quiet confidence that comes from financial security built on a foundation of valuable skills consistently applied with excellence and integrity. And as you imagine Margaret humming contentedly as she tends her expanded garden, now filled with both vegetables that nourish the body and flowers that feed the soul, you're experiencing the deep satisfaction that comes from abundance shared with those you love, prosperity that enhances life without overwhelming it, wealth that serves love rather than replacing it. Because Henrik and Margaret understand what you too are beginning to remember, that true prosperity creates more joy, more beauty, more opportunity for service and generosity, more capacity to bless others with the overflow of your abundance. Johann proves to be not just a quick learner, but a natural artist whose talent begins to flower under Henrik's patient guidance in ways that surprise even his mentor, creating ironwork that combines traditional techniques with fresh perspectives that bring new life to familiar forms. And when Wilhelm sees Johann's pieces during his next visit to Millbrook Village, the merchant immediately requests exclusive rights to sell the young man's work alongside Henrik's in the luxury markets of the larger cities, offering prices that would have seemed impossible just months before. And as Henrik watches his young apprentice's eyes light up with the first taste of professional recognition and financial reward, the master blacksmith experiences a different kind of abundance, the deep satisfaction that comes from nurturing talent, from passing on knowledge that will continue to create prosperity long after he's gone, from understanding that true wealth lies not just in what you can accumulate, but in what you can create, teach, and share with others who will carry your legacy forward into futures bright with unlimited possibility. And this realization fills Henrik with a profound sense of purpose that extends far beyond personal financial gain to encompass the kind of meaningful contribution to the world that makes prosperity feel not just rewarding, but deeply fulfilling in ways that money alone could never provide. The evening air fills with the scent of roasting meat and fresh bread as the harvest festival reaches its peak, and Henrik sits with Margaret on a wooden bench outside the village inn, watching their children play with friends whose families have all benefited in some way from Henrik's growing success. Anna helping her friend Mary learn to read using the books that Henrik's prosperity has made possible. Thomas playing with wooden toys crafted by the village woodworker whose tools Henrik keeps sharp and well-maintained. Little Sarah toddling after the older children with the confidence that comes from growing up in a secure, loving home where her future is bright with possibilities. And as Henrik observes this scene of simple happiness and community connection, he realizes that his prosperity has created a web of abundance that extends far beyond his own family, touching lives throughout the community in ways both visible and hidden. Because when one person commits to excellence and serves others with genuine care, the ripple effects of that commitment spread like warm light through countless lives, creating opportunities, inspiring others to pursue their own excellence, and demonstrating that abundance is not a limited resource to be hoarded, but an unlimited force to be channeled, shared, and multiplied through service, generosity, and unwavering dedication to the highest good of all. The farmer whose plows Henrik maintains experiences better harvests because his tools work efficiently and reliably, allowing him to cultivate his land more effectively and feed more families with the abundance his improved productivity creates. And this farmer's prosperity creates demand for the merchant's goods, which creates opportunity for the wagon builder whose vehicles Henrik outfits with custom hardware that lasts longer and performs better than standard fittings. And the merchant's success creates need for the banker's services, which creates prosperity that flows through the entire community in ways that multiply and expand until Henrik's commitment to excellence in his own craft becomes a contributing factor in the economic health and abundance of dozens of families who may never realize how their improved circumstances connect back to a village blacksmith's decision to approach every task with meticulous care and unwavering dedication to providing more value than expected, more quality than promised, more service than required, because prosperity is always interconnected, always part of a larger web of relationships and opportunities that benefit everyone when approached with wisdom, integrity, and genuine commitment to serving the highest good of all. As the first stars appear in the darkening sky and the festival lanterns begin to glow more brightly against the gathering dusk, creating an atmosphere of magic and possibility that seems to whisper promises of even greater abundance to come, Henrik feels a deep sense of gratitude washing over him like warm water, not just for the prosperity he's created, but for the journey itself. The challenges that taught him resilience and showed him what he was truly capable of achieving when pressed to exceed his own expectations. The failures that revealed what didn't work and guided him toward approaches that did work. The gradual accumulation of skills and confidence that transformed him from a struggling young blacksmith worried about making ends meet into a respected artisan whose work brings beauty into the world while providing abundantly for his family's needs and contributing to the prosperity of his entire community. And as you absorb Henrik's gratitude and satisfaction, feeling these emotions settling into your own consciousness like seeds planted in fertile soil, you're naturally aligning yourself with the abundance frequency that attracts prosperity, recognizing that your own journey toward financial freedom and personal fulfillment follows the same timeless principles that guided Henrik from scarcity into abundance, from doubt into confidence, from struggle into the peaceful certainty that your skills, when developed with patience and applied with love, will always provide everything you need and more than you ever imagined possible. The gentle evening breeze carries the sound of laughter and music through the village streets, mixing with the distant lowing of cattle and the soft rustle of leaves in the ancient oak trees that have witnessed generations of harvest festivals, generations of families celebrating abundance and community, generations of craftsmen and farmers and merchants learning the same lessons that Henrik is learning about the connection between excellent work and abundant rewards. And as you breathe in this atmosphere of celebration and prosperity, feeling your own consciousness naturally attuning to the frequency of abundance that flows through every aspect of village life, you're beginning to understand that prosperity is not an accident or a stroke of luck, but the natural result of aligning your efforts with principles that never fail those who embrace them with complete faith and committed action. Excellence in your chosen craft, service to others with genuine care, patience with the gradual accumulation of skills and reputation, wise management of the resources that flow into your life, generous sharing of your knowledge and opportunities with others, and unwavering faith in your capacity to create wealth through dedicated effort, applied consistently over time with love, integrity, and commitment to providing value that others eagerly seek and willingly pay for. 2 years later, in the summer of 1850, as Henrik approaches his 30th birthday, with the quiet confidence of a man who has discovered his place in the world and his capacity for creating lasting prosperity that serves not only his own family's needs, but also contributes meaningfully to the well-being of his entire community. He stands in his significantly expanded workshop on a warm evening when the air shimmers with heat and possibility. The late sunlight streaming through new windows that illuminate a space now large enough to accommodate not one, but 3 apprentices working under his guidance, their hammers creating a symphony of productivity that speaks of abundance multiplied through the sharing of knowledge, skills, and opportunities. And as you imagine the rhythmic music of metal striking metal, the hiss of hot iron meeting cool water, the satisfied murmur of voices discussing techniques and artistic possibilities, you're naturally sinking deeper into the peaceful recognition that abundance multiplies when shared, that prosperity grows strongest when it serves not just personal needs, but community development. Because Henrik has learned what you too are beginning to understand with increasing clarity, that true wealth creation comes not from hoarding resources, but from developing systems that generate value for many people simultaneously, creating networks of prosperity that lift entire communities while building individual security and satisfaction that extends far beyond mere financial accumulation. Henrik's reputation has grown far beyond what he once thought possible, spreading through Wilhelm's luxury trade network to wealthy families in distant cities where his ironwork commands prices that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago. But more importantly than the money itself, which continues to flow into his life with increasing regularity and growing amounts, Henrik has discovered the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing that his work will outlast his lifetime, that gates and railings and decorative pieces bearing his craftsmanship will serve families for generations, becoming part of their heritage, their daily environment, their legacy of beauty and functionality that will be passed down to children and grandchildren who will appreciate the artistry and excellence of Henrik's work long after the blacksmith himself has joined his ancestors. And as you contemplate this connection between present effort and future impact, feeling your own consciousness expanding to embrace the long-term perspective that transforms ordinary work into legacy building, you're naturally opening to your own understanding of how wealth building creates ripples that extend far beyond immediate financial gain, touching lives you may never see in ways you may never fully comprehend, but which contribute to the vast web of abundance that connects all human endeavor in patterns of mutual benefit and shared prosperity. Margaret has begun keeping detailed records of their household finances, not from worry or fear as she might have done in their earlier years when money was scarce and uncertain, but from a growing understanding that prosperity managed wisely becomes prosperity multiplied. Wealth stewarded with care becomes wealth that serves multiple generations, and abundance approached with gratitude and planning becomes abundance that creates opportunities for generous giving and community investment that enriches not only their own lives, but the lives of countless others whose well-being is enhanced by Henrik's growing success. And as Margaret sits at their kitchen table on evenings when Henrik works late, carefully noting income from various sources, planning for future expansions of both the workshop and their family's living situation, setting aside portions for their children's education and their own comfortable retirement, she's practicing the abundance mindset that sees money as a tool for creating security, opportunity, and generosity rather than an end in itself. And as you witness Margaret's wise stewardship of their growing wealth, you're naturally absorbing the financial wisdom that transforms temporary prosperity into lasting abundance. The understanding that money managed with intention and gratitude grows into resources that serve not just immediate needs, but long-term dreams and generous impulses that bless others with the overflow of your success. The 3 apprentices who now work under Henrik's guidance Johann, who has developed into a skilled journeyman whose own artistic vision has begun to emerge in pieces that combine traditional techniques with innovative approaches that bring fresh life to familiar forms. Young Carl, who shows exceptional talent for decorative work that combines mathematical precision with artistic flair, and Peter, whose strength and attention to detail make him invaluable for larger projects that require both physical capability and meticulous craftsmanship, represent Henrik's most important investment in his own future prosperity, because as their skills develop under his patient instruction and encouragement, they multiply his capacity to serve customers, to take on larger commissions that require multiple skilled craftsmen working in coordination, to create pieces of even greater complexity and beauty that command premium prices while building reputation that attracts ever more prestigious opportunities. And Henrik understands that teaching others doesn't diminish his own value, but enhances it exponentially, creating a workshop where excellence is the standard rather than the exception, where innovation flourishes through the combination of experienced wisdom and youthful creativity, where young talent finds the guidance and opportunity needed to transform natural ability into professional mastery that will serve them throughout their lives while contributing to the growing reputation of Henrik's workshop as the finest ironwork establishment in the region. This particular evening brings news that will transform Henrik's understanding of just how far his prosperity journey can extend, how high his reputation can rise, and how abundant the rewards can become when excellence becomes not just a goal, but a way of life. Because Wilhelm arrives not just with new commissions from his regular network of wealthy clients, but with a proposal that takes Henrik's breath away and challenges him to envision possibilities he never dared consider. A wealthy industrialist in the capital city, a man whose fortune comes from textile mills and shipping enterprises that span multiple countries, has seen Henrik's work during a visit to one of Wilhelm's other clients and wants to commission an entire series of iron fixtures for a mansion he's building, a project that would require 6 months of dedicated work from Henrik's entire workshop and pay enough to secure his family's comfort for years to come. But more than the financial opportunity, which is certainly substantial enough to transform their circumstances permanently, this commission represents recognition at the highest levels of society, validation that a village blacksmith's dedication to excellence can elevate his work to the level of fine art appreciated by the most sophisticated judges of quality. And as Henrik listens to Wilhelm describe the scope and significance of this opportunity, feeling his heart race with excitement, while his mind calculates the implications for his family's future and his own artistic legacy, you're naturally experiencing your own elevation in consciousness, your own recognition that your talents and dedication can carry you to heights you've never imagined, can open doors to opportunities that seem impossible until they become inevitable through the patient accumulation of skill, reputation, and unwavering commitment to serving others with the best you have to offer. The Mansion Commission represents not just financial opportunity, but artistic challenge that will push Henrik's skills to new levels, requiring him to create pieces that combine functionality with beauty on a scale he's never attempted, integrating his ironwork with architectural elements designed by the most talented architects of the age, collaborating with craftsmen in other disciplines whose own work represents the highest levels of their respective arts. And as Henrik discusses the project with his apprentices, their eyes shining with excitement at the prospect of participating in such a prestigious undertaking, he realizes that this opportunity will benefit not just himself, but everyone in his workshop, providing them with experience, education, and portfolio pieces that will enhance their own reputations and future prospects, while contributing to a collective achievement that none of them could accomplish individually. And this understanding fills Henrik with deep satisfaction because he's learned that the best opportunities are those that create abundance for many people simultaneously, that lift entire teams while advancing individual careers, that demonstrate how personal success and community benefit can work together in harmony rather than competition. As Henrik walks home through the village streets on this warm summer evening, passing houses where his ironwork graces windows and doorways, past the church where his decorative hinges and latches serve the community every day, past Mayor Aldrich's estate where his magnificent gates continue to draw admiration from visitors who recognize excellence when they see it, he feels a deep satisfaction that extends far beyond personal achievement to encompass a sense of contribution to something larger than himself, because his prosperity has been built not through clever schemes or fortunate accidents, but through the steady application of timeless principles, excellence in craft, service to others, continuous learning and improvement, wise management of resources, and generous sharing of knowledge and opportunity with those ready to receive it. And as you absorb Henrik's understanding of how true wealth is created, feeling these principles taking root in your own consciousness, where they'll grow into new patterns of thinking and acting that naturally attract abundance into your life, you're naturally aligning yourself with the same reliable pathway to prosperity that has served countless individuals throughout history, who understood that abundance flows naturally toward those who develop valuable skills, serve others with genuine care, and maintain unwavering faith in their capacity to create wealth through dedication, persistence, and excellence, applied consistently over time with love, integrity, and commitment to the highest good of all. The evening air carries the scent of roses from Margaret's garden, which has expanded over the years to include not just vegetables for the family table, but flowers that bring beauty into their daily lives and herbs that provide both culinary enhancement and natural remedies for common ailments. And as Henrik approaches his front door, he can hear through the open windows the sound of Margaret reading to their children from one of the books that their prosperity has made possible, their voices creating a harmony of love and security that represents the true purpose of all his hard work and dedication, because Henrik has never forgotten that wealth exists to serve life, not the other way around. That prosperity means having the resources to care for those you love, to provide opportunities for their growth and happiness, to create security that allows them to pursue their own dreams and develop their own talents without the constant worry about basic necessities that can stifle creativity and limit possibilities. And as you listen to this scene of domestic happiness made possible by Henrik's commitment to excellence and service, you're naturally understanding that true abundance includes not just financial resources, but the peace of mind, loving relationships, and sense of purpose that make wealth meaningful and satisfying, rather than empty accumulation of possessions that provide no lasting joy or fulfillment. Tonight, as Henrik reaches his front door, where Margaret waits with their 3 children, Anna, now a thoughtful girl of 12, who helps her mother with household accounts and shows remarkable aptitude for the mathematical aspects of business management, Thomas, an energetic boy of 10, who already shows interest in his father's craft and spends hours watching Henrik work while asking intelligent questions about techniques and materials, and Sarah, a bright child of 8, whose laughter fills their home with joy and whose generous nature reminds Henrik daily of why he works so hard to build abundance that can be shared with others. He pauses for a moment to appreciate not just the comfortable home they've created or the financial security they've established, but the deeper abundance that flows through their lives like a river of blessings, because Henrik has learned what you too are discovering with each word that settles into your consciousness, that prosperity is measured not just in coins and possessions, but in the quality of relationships, the depth of satisfaction in work well done, the security that comes from skills that serve genuine needs, the peace of mind that flows from living with integrity and purpose, and the quiet joy that fills every day when you know that your efforts contribute to something larger than yourself while providing abundantly for those you love most. And as Henrik's story continues to unfold in your awareness, you're naturally absorbing these abundance principles, allowing them to transform your own relationship with money, success, and your unlimited potential for creating the kind of lasting prosperity that brings not just financial security, but deep satisfaction, meaningful contribution to your community, and the peaceful confidence that comes from knowing that your skills, when developed with patience and applied with love, will always provide everything you need and more than you ever imagined possible. 5 years have passed since Henrik first began his transformation from struggling village blacksmith to prosperous artisan whose reputation extends far beyond the borders of Millbrook Village. And now, on a golden summer evening in 1852, when the air hangs sweet with the scent of ripening grain and the promise of another abundant harvest that will bring prosperity to farmers, merchants, and craftsmen throughout the region, Henrik stands at the edge of his property, looking out over the small plot of land he purchased last month adjacent to his workshop, where he plans to build a larger forge that will accommodate the growing demand for his ironwork while providing space for the teaching workshop he dreams of establishing. A place where young craftsmen can learn not just the technical skills of metalworking, but the abundance principles that transform simple labor into lasting prosperity. The mindset that sees opportunity in every challenge, excellence as a way of life rather than an occasional effort, and service to others as the most reliable pathway to personal abundance. And as you imagine Henrik's vision taking shape in the golden light of this peaceful evening, feeling the warmth of his satisfaction and excitement flowing through your own consciousness, you're naturally opening to your own expanded vision of what your life can become when you align your efforts with timeless principles of excellence, service, and generous sharing of the wisdom you've gained through your own journey toward abundance that serves not only your immediate needs, but the needs of future generations who will benefit from the legacy you're building through dedicated work, continuous learning, and unwavering commitment to providing value that improves the lives of everyone your skills touch. The mansion commission in the capital city exceeded everyone's expectations, not just in the financial rewards it provided, which were indeed substantial enough to secure Henrik's family's comfort for years to come while funding the expansion of his workshop and the establishment of the teaching facility he's planning, but more significantly, in the recognition it brought to Henrik's name and reputation, with wealthy families throughout the region and beyond now seeking out his ironwork for their own estates, creating a waiting list of commissions that extends months into the future and provides the kind of financial security Henrik once thought existed only in fairy tales told to children. But Henrik has learned that true security comes not just from having money in hand, but from possessing skills that create value others genuinely need and eagerly seek. Reputation built on consistent excellence that naturally attracts abundant opportunities, and systems of business that generate wealth through service rather than exploitation, contribution rather than extraction, and abundance that lifts entire communities rather than concentrating wealth in ways that create resentment or inequality. Because Henrik understands what you too are beginning to recognize with crystal clarity, that there are no limits to how far dedication to excellence can carry a person who approaches their work with love, integrity, and unwavering commitment to serving others while continuously improving their abilities and expanding their capacity to create value that benefits everyone involved in the exchange. Margaret has become Henrik's business partner in every sense of the term, managing the financial aspects of their growing enterprise with wisdom and foresight that amazes even Henrik, who knew she was intelligent and capable, but never imagined the depths of her natural business acumen until prosperity gave her the opportunity to apply her skills to something more challenging than simple household management. And her careful record-keeping, strategic planning, and insightful analysis of market trends have revealed patterns and opportunities that Henrik's focus on craftsmanship alone might have missed, allowing them to make decisions that maximize not just immediate profits, but long-term growth and stability. And together, they've created a system where artistic excellence and business wisdom support each other in perfect harmony, where creative vision and financial reality work together to build prosperity that serves both their family's needs and their desire to contribute something meaningful to their community, demonstrating that abundance multiplies exponentially when people work together with shared vision, complementary skills, and mutual support that allows each person's strengths to shine while compensating for individual limitations. And as you witness the power of their partnership, you're naturally understanding how collaboration, cooperation, and shared purpose can accelerate the accumulation of wealth while making the journey toward prosperity more satisfying, more sustainable, and more meaningful than any individual effort could achieve. Young Johan has evolved from apprentice to master craftsman to true partner in the enterprise, no longer just someone who learns from Henrik, but someone whose innovative techniques and fresh artistic vision have begun attracting their own following among clients who appreciate the way he combines traditional methods with contemporary sensibilities, creating pieces that honor the past while speaking to present needs and future possibilities. And Henrik takes deep satisfaction in knowing that his investment in Johan's development has created not just another skilled worker, but a true colleague whose success enhances the reputation of the entire workshop while providing Johan with the kind of prosperity that will allow him to provide for his own growing family, and perhaps, someday soon, to teach and mentor the next generation of craftsmen who will carry these traditions forward into an abundant future where skilled artisans are valued not just for their technical abilities, but for their contribution to the beauty, functionality, and cultural richness of their communities. Because Henrik understands what you too are beginning to recognize with increasing depth and certainty, that true wealth is created not just through individual effort, but through the development of systems, relationships, and legacies that continue generating value long after any one person's direct involvement, creating networks of prosperity that benefit entire communities while building individual security and satisfaction that extends far beyond mere financial accumulation. The other apprentices, Carl and Peter, have also flourished under Henrik's guidance and the inspiring example of Johan's success, with Carl's decorative work becoming sought after by churches and wealthy families throughout the region who appreciate his unique ability to combine mathematical precision with artistic flair in ways that create pieces both beautiful and structurally sound, while Peter's strength and attention to detail have made him invaluable for the larger architectural projects that now form a significant portion of the workshop's business. And as Henrik watches these young men grow into masters of their respective specialties, he experiences the deep satisfaction that comes from knowing that his prosperity has created opportunities for others to build their own abundance, that his success has generated employment, training, and hope for families throughout the village, that his commitment to excellence has inspired others to pursue their own highest potential, while contributing to a collective reputation for quality that benefits everyone associated with the workshop. Because true prosperity always includes this element of service to community, this understanding that individual wealth gains meaning and permanence only when it contributes to the welfare of others, creates opportunities for those who might otherwise struggle to find their place in the economic life of their region, and demonstrates that abundance is not a zero-sum game where one person's gain requires another's loss, but an unlimited force that expands and multiplies when approached with wisdom, generosity, and genuine commitment to the highest good of all. This evening, as Henrik prepares to announce his plans for the expanded workshop and teaching school to his family and workers, gathering them around the large wooden table he commissioned from the village's finest carpenter using iron fittings of his own design, he reflects on the remarkable journey that has brought him from uncertainty to abundance, from struggling to provide basic necessities to planning investments in his community's future that will benefit generations of craftsmen yet to come. And he recognizes that every challenge he faced, every skill he developed through patient practice and continuous learning, every relationship he built through honest dealing and generous service, and every principle he learned about the connection between excellence and prosperity has contributed to creating not just financial wealth, but a life rich with purpose, satisfaction, and the quiet joy that comes from knowing that your work matters in the world, that your efforts serve others while providing abundantly for your own family, that your dedication to quality has created value that will outlast your lifetime. And as you absorb Henrik's deep gratitude for this journey, feeling his appreciation and satisfaction settling into your own consciousness, like warm light filling every cell of your being, you're naturally experiencing your own shift into abundance consciousness, your own recognition that prosperity is not something you have to struggle to achieve, but something that flows naturally toward those who commit themselves to serving others with excellence, patience, and genuine care for the well-being of everyone whose lives are touched by their work. As the evening deepens and the first stars appear in the darkening sky like diamonds scattered across velvet, promising another beautiful day tomorrow, filled with opportunities for service, creation, and abundance, Henrik gathers his family around their kitchen table, where Margaret has prepared a feast to celebrate their good fortune and the exciting plans they're about to announce, and their 3 children, Anna, now showing remarkable skill with numbers and business concepts that will serve her well in whatever path she chooses to pursue, Thomas beginning to work with simple tools in his father's workshop while developing the patience and attention to detail that excellent craftsmanship requires, and Sarah, whose bright spirit and generous nature remind Henrik daily of why he works so hard to build abundance that can be shared with others and used to make the world a more beautiful, prosperous, and joyful place for all who call it home. Listen with shining eyes as Henrik describes his vision for the school, where young craftsmen will learn not just technical skills, but life principles, the expanded workshop that will create employment for more families in the village, and the legacy he hopes to create through continued dedication to excellence and service that demonstrates how individual prosperity and community well-being can work together in perfect harmony. And as you witness this family scene filled with love, security, shared dreams, and the quiet confidence that comes from abundance built on a foundation of valuable skills, consistently applied with integrity and purpose, you're naturally absorbing the understanding that true prosperity always serves love, always creates more opportunities for generosity and service, always contributes to building a world where more people can experience the abundance that is every human being's birthright when they align their efforts with principles of excellence, integrity, and genuine care for others' well-being. The candles flicker gently in the evening breeze that drifts through open windows, carrying the scent of roses from Margaret's garden and the distant sound of village life settling into peaceful rhythms that speak of security, contentment, and the kind of prosperity that enhances life without overwhelming it, that serves human needs without becoming an obsession, that creates opportunities for joy, beauty, and generous service, rather than mere accumulation of possessions. And Henrik feels a deep contentment settling over him like the most comfortable blanket ever woven, because he has learned what you too are discovering with each breath, each heartbeat, each moment of deeper relaxation that carries you closer to the abundant mindset that is your natural birthright. That prosperity is not a destination to be reached through struggle and sacrifice, but a way of being to be cultivated through daily dedication to excellence, not a prize to be won through competition and conflict, but a garden to be tended through patient service and continuous learning, not a secret to be discovered through complex strategies, but a practice to be mastered through simple principles applied consistently over time with love, integrity, and unwavering faith in your capacity to create wealth through dedicated effort that serves not only your own needs, but the needs of everyone whose lives are enriched by your contribution to the world. And as Henrik's story becomes part of your own understanding, as his abundance principles take root in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, where they'll grow and flourish into new patterns of thinking, feeling, and acting that naturally attract prosperity into your life, you're naturally drifting into peaceful sleep, knowing that your own journey toward financial freedom and personal fulfillment follows the same reliable path that has served countless others throughout history, that your skills and dedication will always provide abundantly for your needs, that opportunities for service and abundance surround you every day, waiting for your recognition and committed action, and that you already possess everything necessary to create the kind of lasting prosperity that brings security to your family, satisfaction to your work, and meaning to your life through generous service to others and unwavering commitment to excellence in all you do, as you sleep peacefully tonight, knowing that abundance is your natural birthright and prosperity flows toward you now with increasing speed and certainty, carrying you into dreams of success and fulfillment and waking you tomorrow with renewed energy, confidence, and clarity about your unlimited potential for creating wealth through dedicated service, skilled work, and the patient application of timeless principles that never fail those who embrace them with complete faith and committed action, allowing these abundance principles to work their magic in your life as you rest deeply and peacefully, knowing that prosperity flows to you naturally and easily, that your value is recognized and rewarded, that your skills create opportunities for wealth and service, and that tomorrow brings new possibilities for growth, abundance, and joyful contribution to the well-being of all whose lives you touch through your excellent work and generous spirit.